How many of you here are actually in business for yourself? Quick show of hands. Let me see your hands up properly. Oh, you got a bit of enthusiasm for this whole thing? Okay, so pop your hands down. Who is not in business for themselves that works for someone else that's here in the room? Who hasn't got a job, just came for a free coffee? Yeah, one or two honest people. Okay. So what I'd like to show you, I really would like to show you, is where potentially in your business you've actually got some free money. That be useful? Okay. There's some free money. Who'd like it? Who'd like it?
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. What did I just do? I gave away a tenner. I've got to think about a better plan for this whole thing. What I just want you to see of what just happened is typical of what happens in your businesses day in, day out. You're offered the chance to do something that might seem blindingly simple and obvious, and you laugh it off. Or you don't actually take action. And then someone who's really smart with accounting gets up off his backside and goes, ha, I'll come and get it. Got this far and thought, oh no, best I don't. And when sat back down again. That could have been your tenner.
Could have been.
You want a tenner? Fighting for it. I'm not giving it away anymore. But my point is this, is that sometimes there are always, in different businesses and different walks of life, there are people that are either thinkers or doers. And there are people that take action and there are people that don't. I've come across people, definitely three types of people probably. There are people that actually make things happen. There are people that watch things happen. And there are those that wonder what happened. Don't get caught being the last. There's so much happening in the world today that you've got to be responsive. You've got to be ready to be able to take action and do stuff. What just happened, from quite a way back in the room, someone had the good sense to go, you know what, there's money up for grabs, I'm having it. Got up off his backside, came to the front and he's £10 better off. Do you get my point with this? Okay, so let's try another experiment. There's been lots and lots of research. I'm a huge believer, and I also work with DISC. DISC is great to better, it's like being Mystic Meg, isn't it, when you can understand how people work and what they do. But some other research that I've followed will actually help you demonstrate as to whether maybe you're a thinker or a doer. So let's try something else. You can stay seated for this one. What I'd like to do is put your hands out in front of you just now. Okay, and on the count of three, what we're all going to do is on the count of three, you're going to clap your hands together. That was really good. Normally, people start doing it immediately because they think they've got to get off the mark, but that's okay. But what I want to do is I want you to clap your hands together and hold them where they stop. Do you understand the instructions? Quite straightforward. Got it? Okay, so on the count of three, I want you to clap your hands together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And hold them there. Don't move them. Have a look down at your hands. You've very likely got one thumb on top of the other. Someone I can see has actually got them side by side, which is interesting. But if, like me, keep your hands clasped, who's got their right thumb over their left? Just keep your hands together, but put them up in the air. Okay, look around you, everybody. Look around. So those that have got their right thumb over their left, keep your arms up in the air. Okay, we're the doers. Generally speaking, and here's what the research shows you too, is the people that would do that automatically and put their right thumb over their left, they're also incredibly sexy. Not only are they incredibly sexy, but the doing thing comes to play there too, because when it comes down to the sexy thing, we're pretty damn good at doing that too. And I've also seen a couple of people trying to shuffle their thumbs over there. You don't just get to choose that one. So those that had the other way around, who had their left thumb over their right, put your hands up. Okay, you look around you. Look around. You are the thinkers. You think you're really good at the sex thing, but in fact, but in fact, it doesn't quite work like that. Okay. Listen, I'm having some fun with you. Business has to be fun. If you don't enjoy doing what you're doing, for goodness sake, go and do something else. Now, I can come up here. Gary's given me half an hour to talk to you tonight, and I can talk to you about my gorgeous wife, Suzanne, my 5 kids, my house in the country, and the new dog that we acquired today called Trevor. Who calls a dog Trevor? We've got a dog. So I can tell you that story, like nice, fluffy, warm stuff about the lovely house and the wife and the dog, or I can tell you some stuff that will help you with your business. but it might be a bit kind of between the eyes. So which would you like? Story A, fluffy, lovely wife, house in the country, or story B, let's tell us some stuff that might help your business. Which would you like, A or B?
B.
You bastards. I'm sorry. My wife's lovely, the dog's lovely, Trevor. He's really cute. Okay, so I'll share those stories another time with you, but let me share some stuff that will help you with your business. Have you all got pen and paper out? Okay, well, I would get pen and paper out if I were you, because the one thing that I absolutely know is the worst pen will survive the best possible memory. If you will write stuff down, you will remember what you're taking notes on. Gary said I'd like to give you a couple of tips of things that will help. I'm going to give you 3 very specific things that I promise will help you boost your sales if you want to, and I'm also going to give you one kind of challenge at the end if you're up for it. Who's up for a challenge? That's quite fun, given you don't really know me yet as well. So that's quite good fun. And some of you have done challenges with me before and still survived. Okay, so I would like you to consider a few things while I'm talking today. When I was in business, and some of you know my background, some of you don't, but I'll tell you this. I left school at 16 without qualifications. I'm not particularly proud of that, but I'm not here because I've got an MBA or a business degree or anything like that at all. I kind of wish I had. I wish I'd gone to university, mainly for Freshers Week, or Freshers Fortnight as I seem to have now. It's getting better and better for the students. And I wish I had gone, so I'm not knocking it, it's great. But I don't know who it was that invented exams, hormones and girls and brought them all crashing together at exactly the same time, because that was a wicked trick. Because I definitely decided that the girls and the other thing was much more fun than the exam room. And so at 16 I left school with no direction, didn't know where I was going or what I was going to do. But at 18 I fell into sales for the first time. Who here is in sales? Let me see their hands high. Okay, put your hands down. Who's not in sales? Okay, I'm going to change your minds during the course of the next 20 minutes or so. Because if you're in business in any way, shape or form, get over yourselves. You're in sales. I don't mind if you're an accountant. I mean, this is it's always fun. I talk about you an awful lot at different places that I go and speak, because you don't tend to have accountants that think about sales and marketing, right? You're bean counters or zero-E counters or whatever we do nowadays. But it's great because we've all got to go and find, as Tina was saying, ways to sell to new clients, ways to sell more to existing clients, and ways to increase our profits. That's sales. It's not a rocket science. This is really easy stuff. Selling is simply helping people solve problems, and the more problems you solve, the more things they buy, the product or service that you've got. Does that make sense? Okay, so who's now happy to be in sales? All of us? Okay. We have, in everyone's business, you have 3 distinct sales teams in all of our businesses nowadays. That's my belief. You've got the traditional or the regular sales team that we might recognise. They're the people that you would expect to be going out and knocking doors, having all the face-to-face meetings, reaching their sales targets. So we've got the regular sales team. We've also all got a reluctant sales team. That's people who are in the finance department or the IT department or in HR, because those people are also absolutely in sales for your business, but they might not realise it. But I'll give you some things to think about on that might be able to help your reluctant team suddenly contribute drastically to your bottom line. Would that be helpful? Okay. The third one, another R, because it keeps it simple for me to remember, is your referral team. So we've got a regular, a reluctant and a referral team, and every one of us has those in the business, but almost no one in the room is using all 3 properly. But I'm going to give you a few things that will help you with each of those. Would that help? Okay, am I losing anyone yet, or are we kind of with me this so far? Okay, so let's recap. I give away money, I show you where the free money is, and I'm telling you there's now 3 sales teams in your business, but you think you're a solicitor and you don't have a sales team. So it gets really confusing for a lot of people. I get that, but follow me along. Where the champagne results on beer budget is a talk I've been delivering to people quite a lot. It's quite fun. So I sold my business because, I was saying, I didn't have a direction, left school, got into sales, and I've been in sales and I've had my own businesses since I was 19. I started a company in America, which I floated on the stock exchange. That's when my lack of qualifications bit me in the backside, because apparently 3 O-levels, one of them would work. That doesn't qualify you to run a public company in America. So after 3 years out there, I came home. It was great. It was a great experience. And I started another business over in Harlow this time. And when I found a niche for my business, do you all know what I mean by niche? Do you? Yep. Okay, so here's what would help. I'll explain in a minute, but I've got pretty dodgy eyesight right now. I had big operation, another one coming up next Thursday, and out of this eye, I really can't focus on anything at all. Everything's kind of soft focus, which is quite cool because all the ladies look really sexy through that eye. The problem is, so do you. It's just soft focus. So I can't see you all that easy right now. So it would really help me that if I'm hitting the mark and it makes sense, that I'm saying, does that make sense, yes or no? Just give me a yes so I know you're with me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That kind of works. Oh, I like this. This is good. Audience participation. So having got my last company, when I found a real niche for the business, we were talking, where's my Burkitt Law man? Where have you gone? See, I said I can't see. He left. Chickened out. I was speaking to someone earlier on. We were talking about niching and what we did. Well, when I niched my business, we took that from pretty much a standing start. We were around about $500,000 to $1 million after a couple of years in business. It was going well, but we took it to 30 million in 8 years, and I sold that 9 years ago last month. And I've not had a real job since. But what's quite fun is I do a lot of business coaching. I run a mentoring program, which Gary's a member of, and I do a lot of work with business owners to help them get to kind of where they want to go. But also because of that, I get invited to go and speak at some great places, and I get billed and sold out as an inspirational speaker. Inspirational. I consider myself more of an irritational speaker, but kind of in a good way, I think. Because to some of the stuff I'm going to share with you, you'll say, well, we know that, but you know what? You don't do it. And so my role as an irritational speaker is to remind you quite a few times over and over about why you should be doing certain things. And some of the things I'm going to share will be a glimpse of the obvious, but you're probably not doing it. But if you're one of those action-orientated people rather than, bless you, just a thinker, then the things that I'm talking about, even the simple things, will have a big impact on your business. So when I say about champagne results on a beer budget, it's because what I'm going to talk about will not cost you money. This is stuff that will cost you no cost or low cost that tomorrow could increase your business. Now, one of the things that I know, here's again a straw poll. How many people here in the room on a regular basis actually go and present to groups like this from the front of the room? Many people do that? A lot? Keep your hands up again, let me just see. Wiggle them around so I can actually see them moving because I can't, oh, I see people out there. Okay, so a lot of us do. Now, I'm on a bit of a mission. What I really want to try and explain to people is one of the best ways that all of us in the room could learn to accelerate the growth of our business is to learn to do what we're doing up here. And find a way that, you actually made accounting sound quite fun. And that's a tough job, right? I was talking to people earlier on and saying, you know, if someone in here who deals with tax or deals with accounting or deals with finance, I'm sorry to the people in the room whose business that is, but it's not the sexiest end of the business, right? I get the sexy bit with sales and marketing. I'm kind of lucky. But I promise you, there is a gold mine waiting to be tapped into for someone that can learn whatever your business is if you can turn it into a fun way that people get it, so that you get invited to speak to 30, 40, 50 people. I resided in Iran last year, 1,600 people, or 500 people just now in Coventry, or 120 people down on the south coast last week. You can have a massive impact on lots of people far quicker than going one to one to one. Does that make sense? Who'd be interested in learning and trying to hone their skills on being able to take your message to an audience if it was, so, you know, a lot of us do one-to-one presentations, but if you could do 1 to 10 in a boardroom or 1 to 50, and you could learn to do that better so you could get results from it, would you find that useful?
Yeah.
Again, quick show. Okay. So again, this is test marketing right now. If I put on a day like that, because I was talking today, one of my clients has been 20 years as a speaker bureau. She runs a speaker bureau. And we've got a quote that's going to go up on a site with a day that we're going to promote from one of her clients, Rory Bremner, saying, you know, the dynamic duo, when you've got Deborah with what she knows about selling people and getting speaking gigs, and Steve with what he knows about the sales and marketing, the dynamic duo won't fail, or something like that was his quote. And we'll be promoting that. So I'm going to get Deborah, who runs a speaking bureau, to help people understand how to actually get booked places to speak. Now, some of it is like this, where I don't get paid to speak here tonight. I don't think you have, and I bloody well hope you haven't. I don't mean that because you're speaking, because you were very good, but because for me, sometimes this is where you can showcase your goodies and what you're about, because somewhere in here, who knows, someone will decide that the Growth Accelerator program is exactly what they need. Some one or two will decide 0 is what they should want for their accounting. Someone might think, that guy seems to make sense, maybe he could help me. And that's about building relationships, do you agree? So I'm looking at putting a day on where I can get Deborah to show how she books people and how she'll get people, and me to try and help you craft your message into a way that will appeal to an audience which will accelerate your sales results. So maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later on. In fact, you know we will, because I've obviously got a plan. But we'll come back on that one if I may. So sales and marketing, it's so important. Back in the day, sales and marketing for me, they were two completely different departments. Sales are the ones that went out and got all the business in, right? Marketing and PR, but marketing were the people that had the colouring in pens, all the budget and no accountability. That was marketing, right? We agree with that? Because what it's all about really is your logo. Because getting your logo right is critical to your business. Would you agree? How can some people nodding? Maybe it's the way I asked the question. Are you a graphic designer? Okay, so let me give you an example. You know, people aren't buying because of your logo. They're not. But here's an example. This was the office. Oh, we got the wrong clicker. Now, we said that would happen, didn't we? Where's the right clicker? Did you get the other one? I'm clicking, and your presentation's moving on a treat, Tina. That's looking really good. There's my one. Okay, this is the Office of Government Commerce. This was a government-funded operation, and the OCG were about to lose some of their funding because what they wanted to demonstrate to people was that they had a really tight grip on the really important things that mattered to everybody, and they had all the important matters firmly in hand. And yet they weren't getting enough people through the door, and they were in risk of losing some of their funding. And some bright spark thought, rather than going out and selling stuff and seeing people, what we should do is we should rebrand. That means a new logo, right? So they spent 12,000 of our pounds and redid the logo. Would you like to see what they came up with? Genius, isn't that brilliant? Does that now show you they've got all the important matters firmly in hand and they know what really matters to us all? I'd love to think it did. But you know what? That was the whole new logo. And then I got looking at this and thinking, if you flip the letterhead on its side, does that now show you that they've got all the important matters firmly in hand and they know what really matters to us all? You know, I would love to think that the designer that came up with that, I'd love to think that they actually knew what they were doing. But do you think they really did? I doubt it very much. So the next question. Where's the focus? Where's your focus? Because an awful lot of people will just don't have the plan. Tina, I'm with you. I was raving with Gary just now. With the stuff that I do with the mentoring group and the coaching that I do with people, so many people do not have a plan on where they're trying to go with their business at all. They've got no focus. As a business owner, we've got 101 things to do every day. We're all busy, right? How many people aren't busy in the room? If you're sitting with your boss, you know what the answer is to that one. Oh, busy, busy, busy. But we're all busy, but we're not busy on the right stuff. Whose day starts something like this when you rock up to the office, slightly bleary-eyed, and you flip open the laptop or you fire up your computer, coffee in one hand, click, open email. Whose day starts like that, be honest? Okay, you are wasting your time. I said it was going to be harsh, didn't I? If you want to improve things, that is the best way to waste your entire day. You'll say things like, you spent the day firefighting, it's non-stop, you're getting all this stuff done, I'm getting drowning with email. Well, stop it. Stop it. What have you got to do? Stop it. But that's it. There is no point. I read a great book, it's called The 4 Hour Work Week. Have you read that book? It's brilliant. It's a bit kind of out there for some people, but one of the things that it made me do was to realise I could tame my email. I don't have to be rude, but I get hundreds of emails each day. But you know what? Most of them are not that important. How many people here, when the phone rings in your office, who picks up your phone in the office? Do you answer your phone? Do you? Yes. Stop it. It's a waste of your time. That's reactive. You need to be proactive. Okay, I'm a one-man band, except I'm not. I've got a dozen people that work on my virtual team. So my last company, I had 150 people that we employed, and having sold the business on and things, couple of things that I vowed to myself. One is I won't wear a tie to go to work anymore. I never understood it. It was always really uncomfortable, so I don't wear ties. The other one was I don't employ people. Because of the way that the world works nowadays, you can outsource an awful lot of things. I'll write something on here. I'll share a couple of bits. Stay. What's that? DOA. Dead on arrival. That's like most of you in your business most days. That's like a load of your marketing messages when you send it out to people. It's dead on arrival. It's junk that you're often sending out. That's why they call it junk mail. You need to do things differently to get different results. That, in my world, stands for delegate, outsource, and automate. Delegate, outsource, automate. Copyright, trademark, do something with it, Steve, think. But that's what we need to be doing. You need to find things that you can do, and you can delegate, outsource, automate. And when I really got that, it works. I don't ever answer my phone. If you've got in your office, who's got an answer machine that takes voice messages for you? Okay, so I take the trouble to go through your marketing, I find your office, and I ring the office, and it goes ring, 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 bloody ring, and then suddenly, good afternoon, your call is really important to us, so I'm sorry we can't take your call right now, would you leave your name? Boom. Who likes leave? Okay, let's try something else again. This is a bit interactive, right? Hands up if you use a voicemail machine like that, an answer machine. Put your hands up again. So don't panic, put your hands up, be honest. This is like truth and dare, right? Put your hands up. Okay, and look around. Look around, look around, look around. If you've got a stiff neck, don't look around, you'll hurt yourself, but look around. Okay, now, hands up, put your hands down, thank you. Put your hands up if you like leaving a message on an answer machine. Look around, look around. Those that have got answer machines, look around. You're spending your time, effort and money on generating leads and inquiries, and you're getting a machine to answer the phone and no one wants to leave a message on it. On a scale of 1 to 10, how stupid is that? 10 being stupid, 0 being, well, I think it's okay. It's stupid, right? So I never answer my phone, but my phone always gets answered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 sad days of the year by a real person in Manchester. I outsource it to a company called All Day PA, but I never ever answer my phone. If someone rings my office now, you can try it if you want, what'll happen is the message that they've got is to take the message, know who's calling, what it's about, and then they will phone me on my mobile. And I can then decide, do I want to take your call right now or not? I've been on the 5th tee at my golf course in Spain, just about to tee off, and my phone goes. Well, it vibrates because they don't like phones on golf courses, but it vibrates and it's my all-day PA. And I can listen and they say, we've got so-and-so on the phone. Oh, I've been waiting for this call. Fine, guys, shush. Yeah, put them through. And I can take the call, I can do that little piece of business, make that appointment, hang up, tee off. And they think they've called me at my office over here. I'm in Spain in the sunshine playing golf. Who's got it right? I don't say any of this stuff to impress you, just to impress upon you that you can delegate, outsource and automate, and you can make use of technology that's out there so easily in so many ways. I've got no axe to grind here, but All Day PA are brilliant. If you call up and say, I'd like to test your service, oh, by the way, they charge me about 70p a call, and only when they answer the phone. So if they're not answering the call, what's it costing me? Nothing. There's no fixed cost for me. So why wouldn't I do it? But if you outsource to All Day PA and say, Steve, the guy from Eureka, recommended that we come and try you out, I think they give you like a tenner to go hello there, and they give me a tenner credit off my account. I haven't paid a phone bill in ages. But that's fair. I don't care if you don't mention me. It won't really break the bank either way. But don't leave someone else to answer your phone in terms of an answer machine. Does that make sense? Okay, so where were we? Where's the focus? You need to have a focus. You need a plan, and you need to know what you're trying to do with your business, and there's lots of things that go into it. But I want to give you now, well, two things. I'm going to show you another piece of automation. Who's got their phones? Have you all got your phones out? Okay, let me rephrase that. Could everyone please take out their cameras? Think. Is there any wonder Jessup's got in trouble? You've got to keep up with the times with what you're doing with your business. So when you take your phones out, and I want you to do an experiment, if you want to join in. Because what I'd like to do, I did this, I was speaking at the Institute of Sales and Marketing Management up in Coventry the other week. There were 5 of us did a keynote for the day, and it was a privilege to get on that stage and do it. And we had about 500 people in the audience. Next door, there was a trade show exhibition going on, and you've been to lots of these events, where the exhibition people are there, and they're talking to people one by one, and they're collecting in their fishbowl your business card, which goes in a drawer, and you could win something. And then you have a quality street, and by the time you've been to 10 stalls, you're going, oh, for Christ's sake, enough of the quality street already, and then you find that someone's got some other chocolate you can try. You know how that works at trade shows? So while the people were there trying to do their exhibition stuff and gather a few cards, I wasn't trying to rub salt into wounds or they rub their nose in it, but I demonstrated how you can use technology today, which is why, again, I'm saying if you're at the front of the room, what you want to do is you want to be able to build your database and build your connections so that you can build rapport and over time you can build a relationship. Do you all know what ROI is? Return on investment. Forget it. Here's the new one. ROE. What does that stand for? Return on engagement. It's vital today because of what happens with technology and what's out there. Whether you like Facebook or not, or if you like LinkedIn or not, it doesn't matter. If your customers want to engage with you in different ways, that's where you need to be. So I'd like to try an experiment right now. If you want to do this, is we're going to do a mass texting. So I'm going to show you what happened at this other event. And by the way, when you send this text, it costs me, not you, right? You may have a plan that forbids it, in which case talk to me afterwards anyway. What I'm going to say to you, if you would like free hints and tips from me on a regular but not like hourly basis, but if I could give you some free hints and tips that might just help you with your business, I'll send those to you for free if you'd like them. Would anyone like those? Okay, so here's what I want you to do, is I want you to text. We're going to send a text. Are you all okay about how to send a text? The number you're going to send to is 60777. Now, if you don't want to play along, that's absolutely fine. It tells me one of two things. Either you're already on my list and get my hints and tips, or it means you haven't got a phone or can't text, or you don't like me.
Your battery's dead.
Or your battery's dead. Do you know, that was worrying me, because I kind of want you to like me, because you've got my tenner and I won't get it back. But if your battery's dead, I get that too. But here's the thing, marketing is like a magnet. You can attract some people and repel others. Therefore, there are things that Tina will have said that will attract you to Tina as a business coach. There's things that I will say that will attract you to me as a business coach. We're competitors, we're in the same room doing the same thing, but we're not out wrestling in the car park over stuff. There's enough business to go around, right? And we've known each other for years. So some people will text. So you're going to send to 60777 and you're going to text the word thrive, THRIVE. You got that? And your name. So you're just going to send to 60777. You're going to text the word thrive and your name. Don't send it yet. We're going to do a mass texting. Are you ready? This is my selfie stick. One of my best birthday presents anyone ever gave me. This is like having, I'm sorry to you, but this is like having my own film crew on hand right now. So on the count of three, we're going to send the text. You ready? 1, 2, 3, done. Have you sent it? Yes. Good. We've got a picture of me sending all that. That'll be on Facebook, that'll be on Twitter. If you're not meant to be here, tell me. If you're with someone you're not meant to be with, for Christ's sake, move and I'll take another picture. But there's ways to make it work. Okay, so I can hear a few dings. You can now just put your phones down for a second, because what you will have witnessed just now is a rare beast. It's a man multitasking. Because as you've sent me that, my system is set up to send you back a text. Have you got it back already? Yeah. Can you just read out what it says in yours? If someone's got it already, just read out what it says, could you? Okay, it used to be a bit more fun, which was like, great, you proved you can use your thumbs on texting. But okay, so it's saying, you've sent the text, great. Now if you send me your email, I can send you my tips. But what happens now, you don't have to do that now. What I'd rather you do now is just stop it for now. Class, behave. Stop it now, put them away. Okay, we can do it later on. But I just wanted to prove to point to you, because what happened, when I did this at the show the other week, there were 500 people in the audience. There were all these exhibitors paying for their space, and at best they would have collected maybe 20 or 30 business cards that someone's got to go and manually put into their database, that's then got to try and do the follow-up. And when they manually enter, we know that you can make mistakes. What happens now, if you follow that process through, as happened at the event in Coventry, at the Ryco Arena, out of 500 there, 323 people decided they would like my tips. And before I got off the stage, they were already in my database and my first message had gone to them. Subsequently, one person, you didn't meet him last week, but has just joined my Platinum mentoring group. But it took him to be in Coventry to come and realise he could come work with me. So he's joined my mentoring group. 2 people booked me to speak at other events around the country. So while I'm on stage, I've got 323 people in my database so that now I can get a return on engagement. Does that make sense? It's a service called Text Local. It's next to nothing to use. And if you're at the front of the room doing this with 20 or 30 people, the last thing you want to do is to ask Gary for the database of all the attendees and then tomorrow blast out a spam email. Goes, great to meet you. Have you had those from people? And did they actually meet you? And what do you think of them then? Plonker. That was one term I heard. Yeah, was it you? You're not speaking like an accountant now. But it's almost, no, it's not past a watershed, but Gary said plonker. I think that's quite good. Okay, but you don't think well of people that just kind of spam you like that. So you need to build relationships and get a return on engagement. So now on autopilot, the people that have gone into my database, I've set up an autoresponder that while I'm anywhere doing anything else, the email goes out and says, hey, great, here's tip number 1. This is something you should try. Let me know how you get on. Bing, and it's written like I'm talking to you. And I get so many people email me back thinking that I've just sat and sent that email to them. I haven't. I don't love you any less because of it. It's my autoresponder, meaning I can do loads of stuff. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, so I can help you with that. But here's the next tip I'd like you. I'd like you to write down now on your piece of paper, I'd like you to write down the names of 3 people that you know you should have called by now, and for some reason you haven't done it. I'm going to stop while you do this. Just write down on your piece of paper the names of 3 people that you know you should have called. I'll give you a second or two to do this. Some people are thinking 3. I could do 23. Shame on you. It doesn't matter if you're a chief executive, if you're a barrister, if you're a plumber or a dentist. There are people that you should have been following up with and you've put it off. Why do we put it off?
Fear.
Fear of what?
Rejection.
Fear of rejection, fear of failure. Why else?
Fear of success.
Fear of success. That's an interesting one, and it's quite right too. Some people get afraid about the idea of being successful. But fear, what else might put you off making a call? Who's got 3 people down? You got 3 people down? And you know that those 3 people you've put down on your list, you should have called them by now. And it could probably help your business move forward if you'd called them, and you haven't done it. Okay, I've got a challenge for you right now. Half the room went, oh my God, he wouldn't do that, would he? No, I'm not going to do that to you now. I'm not going to, but maybe I should someday. But my challenge to you is this. Tomorrow, make it your first 3 things that you do tomorrow. Before you open any emails, before you do anything else, get over this idea of sitting aggressively waiting for the phone to ring and phone those 3 people. Then what I want you to do is to call me by 10:30 tomorrow morning and let me know how you get on. Who's going to do it? Okay, so no, here's the serious thing now. You've all written down, or most of you have written down, 3 people that you know you should call, and for some reason you haven't done it. What's the worst thing that can happen? They say no thank you, and you then realise that the pipeline that you think you've got of potential business actually isn't true. That's great, flush them out. But if you're deluding yourself that all this stuff will come in at some point, what's stopping it happening? Because if you're not calling your clients or your prospects, who is? Your competitor, right? So who's going to call the 3 people tomorrow morning before 10:30? Okay, you won't. You will? Okay. You'll call me by 10:30. Okay, I'd love that. You know what? I won't answer the phone. But so it's a waste of your time. Exactly. So all day. Okay, I'll make you a promise. I'm not quite sure where I am tomorrow, but I promise you, if you call and all day PA get the call, if I'm on a call or I'm busy somewhere else, I promise you I'll call you back. Same day. I will call you tomorrow. If you call me by 10:30 and tell me how you get on. Here's what happened. I offered this. How are we doing for time, Gary? Are we all right for?
About 5 minutes.
Okay, I don't know what time it is. Are we okay for a few minutes?
Yeah.
Is some of this stuff helping you?
Yeah.
Okay, it only help you if you do something with it. Otherwise it's like, oh, that was fun. Don't come up to me afterwards and go, that was really nice, we know all that stuff, we're just not doing it. Don't tell me that. Tell me that was really good, thanks for the reminder, I'm going to go and do it. That makes me happy. But then tomorrow call me. I challenged people with this in Bishop Stortford ages ago, and I've now used this literally around the world at different places that I go and speak. Listen to me, la-di-da. I'm a global speaker, you know. But it's fun because I do. This year, India, China, Australia, New Zealand, Athens, Poland, Iran, Saudi Arabia, South Africa. It's great. People are paying to fly me to different places to go and speak to audiences and wind them up. You like your job? I love my job. Does it show? I love doing what I'm doing, but it's helping people with their business. So call them. When I mentioned this from Bishop Stortford, and I said to the people, phone me by 10:30 the next day. To my delight, a load of people did call me. But one person called me at the stroke, bang, at 10:30. I took the call. So this guy was at your event last night, wants to talk to you. I said, great, put him through. And he came on, and you've now met him as well, Mark MacGyver. He said, Steve, I was at your meeting last night. He said, you asked us to call you after we made our 3 calls. Well, here I am at 10:30. Now, to be honest, he didn't sound overly friendly. I said, great, Mark, I appreciate the call. So come on, tell me, how did it go? He said, well, the first person I called, I got their answer machine. I thought, okay, I can see where this is all going to go. It's all my fault, but okay. I said, did you try again? Did you call the second person? He said, yes, I did. He said, we chatted for a few minutes, and to my amazement, he placed an order. I said, well, that's not bad going, is it? I said, did you stop or did you carry on? He said, no, I carried on like you said. And the conversation went much the same way as you suggested, because we spent quite a while working through how the call might go. We haven't got time to do all that tonight. But he said, okay, so it went along the lines that you said, and after 15 minutes of a very nice conversation, he also placed an order. I said, that's not bad at all, and I'm really pleased you called me, Mark. He said, that's not why I called you. He said, the 2 orders combined only came to £540. I thought, well, is that my fault? That's what he's charging for his print, that's not my fault, right? I said, well, that's better than a poke in the eye. He said, no. He said, I did the maths. He said, I don't know why I get so busy being busy. It took you last night to tell me to call 3 people a day. He said, if I could do that 5 days a week, even though I often work 6 or 7, if I did that and I got that same lowly result, because that's way below my average order value, if I could call 3 people a day and get that, that's £2,700 of extra business a week. I said, now we're talking. He said, no, that's not why I called you either. I said, well, go on. He said, well, like I said, I did the maths. He said, if I had 4 weeks holiday a year, which I don't, I can't remember when I last had a proper holiday, but if I did, that would still give me 48 weeks of the year that I could pick up the phone to 3 people a day. And if I got that same lowly result, that would give me £126,900 of extra business a year. I said, now, Mark, we're talking. He said, no, that's not why I called you either. I said, well, come on. He said, we're only a small business, we've been in print for 20 years, but there are 4 of us in sales. If I could get each person to make their discipline to call 3 people a day, first thing in the day, every day, for that period, and we got that same lowly result, that would give us £518,000 of extra business a year, and I'm blaming everyone except myself for why business is down. Who might now make 3 phone calls tomorrow? Who might then make it a discipline every day that what you do is call 3 people, not just to ask for an order, but call someone to thank them. In the reluctant sales teams that you've got, I've got some people in the accounts teams also making their 3 calls. But what they do, which is such a light relief for them, is they get to pick people to call who are good payers and good customers, and they call the other people at the other company and just say, hey, Tracy, I just wanted to call you. I'm from so-and-so company. Just wanted to call and say thank you. You know what? It's a pleasure to deal with you and your company. We get some people that are a proper pain in the neck. I'm not just called to say thank you for doing business with us. That's it. Bye. How do you think that person in the account feels? How do you think the client feels? This is where the reluctant team can start to kick into gear for you. So 3 calls a day. It's a simple, I did say I was going to do the obvious stuff, right? But 3 calls a day, do it, see what happens. And if you start to get that to be a discipline, magic starts to happen in your business. Here's the other thing I'd like you to do. Is anyone here from the tax office? I know there's people that deal with tax, but is anyone here from the tax office? Okay, good. So in December, I went to Australia because I got a speaking gig in Australia. I stayed for 2 months. So I figured I could expense the trip out, right? Because I went for a genuine go and talk in Australia. I also spoke when I was in New Zealand. I spoke at a conference in Athens while I was in New Zealand via Skype, and they paid me. Today I spoke to Kazinia, and she's booked me to actually go to Athens now in January for 4 days, all expenses paid, business travel, and pay me to speak at their gig, because although I was only 20 minutes on Skype, I was voted their top speaker of their conference. I wasn't even there. I was in New Zealand. I love my work. I love it. But I was in Australia, and I listened to this guy, Tom Ward, and Tom was on the streets busking for change. And I don't know much about music, I don't know about acoustic guitar, but if you can see on there, the guitar's got a load of holes in. And I don't know music and don't know acoustic guitars. If it's riddled with what looks like bullet holes, I don't reckon that should sound too great. but he was mesmerising. The tune that he was getting, he was playing a Spanish guitar, and the way he was playing it had all the crowd just enthralled, listening. This was down in the central business district in Sydney. And he's there on the streets, and I'm thinking, but he's busking for change. And he was selling CDs for $10. That was the whole gig right there. And he could put anyone that went on to Britain's Got Talent, kick them into a cocked hat. He was brilliant. So afterwards I went up to him and said, Tom, that was fantastic. Thank you so much. It was so good. I was mesmerised. Can I have one of your CDs? And I gave him the 10. I said, but you know what? Put your prices up. And he did what a few of you did then, and just went, yeah, right, and chuckled. I said, no, I'm serious. I said, I don't, I'm kind of here on holiday, I'm kind of here working, but I promise I see this all the time. All of you should think about this too, as Tom did. I said, put your prices up. And what he said was, I'm charging $10 because look, all the other buskers, they're all selling CDs too. The market price is $10 a CD. Do you get that? So you charge what you think is the market rate for your product. Guess what? If you book me as a speaker, book me as your mentor, I am kind of like Apple. I'm reassuringly expensive. But we get some brilliant results. So with Tom, I'm saying, Tom, it doesn't matter that they're charging a tenner. Look at the crowds that are around you and look who's over there listening. He's good, but he's not playing your guitar. He's not playing like you do. He's not you. Charge what you're worth. Are you charging what you're worth? I promise you, you can put your prices up. I promise you, you'll have a product that you may not even have yet, that 20% of your top clients would buy a product that was 20% more expensive than the most expensive thing you have now, if you even had it. I just proved it. I've got a client now in Gretna Green. They've got the only church in Gretna Green where you can get married and walk down an aisle. And these guys, Heath and Jackie, have just joined my program, and I just launched it to see if they'd like to join, and they just have for 12 grand for the year. They're in, they're doing it. I didn't have a program worth 12 grand a little while ago, but I thought I'll take a dose of my own medicine, put my prices up, develop something that is mind-blowingly great that they bought into. We're off to the races. Put your prices up. We changed his sign and we put it on here now. It says CDs $20. And underneath he wrote CDs $20, please take one, or 2 CDs for 30. That was his idea. He went for an upsell. So I left him with it. He played, the crowd was just in awe. When I went back to him about 45 minutes later, I said, Tom, how'd it go? He said, I think I owe you a drink. He doubled his takings playing the same set. An hour after his previous set, he doubled his income. Are you charging what you're worth? I challenge you to put your prices up. What's the worst that will happen? You know what will happen? If you put your prices up, some of the people that think you're too expensive now will maybe go elsewhere. And who are the most troublesome customers you have? The ones that pay the least amount of money, or your top clients that never argue about your invoice? The pain in the arse ones, right? Get rid of them. It's autumn. I'm not a gardener, but you prune rose bushes and things this time of year, right? And when you prune them hard, guess what happens come the spring? You can afford to jettison some of your accounts and some of your clients. It's a tough decision, but some of them, you should free them to go elsewhere. It's very liberating. If you can't fire, same goes with your staff. If you can't fire them with enthusiasm, fire them with enthusiasm. And it's the same with your clients. You've got to do it. Okay, so you can put your prices up. Here's the last one for you here. I went, when I was in New Zealand, at the Shotover River. Anyone been to New Zealand? Have you done the Shotover River? This jet boat experience, have you done it? Mad, isn't it? It's mad. So this boat hurtles down the canyon, just about missing the rocks, at about 80 kilometres an hour, for half an hour's ride, and you are flying down there. At places, the water is about 2 inches deep. Because it's a jet boat, it doesn't need to have propellers and things. As you're whizzing down, and when you get there, this picture amazed me. You can't see these people, so I'm going to point out our future king and his wife, Kate. You've been on that boat, right?
Not with them.
No, not with them. Me neither. But on the boat, there are no harnesses and there are no belts holding you in. I cannot believe that the royal family were allowed to go down on this boat. You hold on. And because you hold on, what happens is as you arrive at the boat, they get you to empty your pockets with all of your change, all of your money, your phones and cameras have to stay. And as they stay, they then walk you down to the boat. And you stand in front of the boat with your partner or whoever you are, and they go, click. And I'm thinking, oh yes, the first upsell. Because they've now got a picture of me in front of the boat. then I know exactly where that picture was taken. You'd have had that same picture taken too. They get you in the boat, they take you 100 yards up one way, spin a 360 and make you scream with laughter or fright. Then they fly back towards the riverbank again, throw another 360 so the boat goes on end so they can get a great camera angle and click, another upsell opportunity. And I'm watching this thinking, look at this, is a machine, this is great. And we had a half-hour ride, it was brilliant. And afterwards, my wife the day after had told a hairdresser in New Zealand that we'd been on this ride, and the hairdresser said, oh, you must be mad. You know, people die on that every year. And I was like, oh, Sue, he's just being a hairdresser, don't panic. Then I Googled it. They do, people die on it every year. It's a mad, insane ride, but great fun. But what happens when you come off the boat or you finish, the pilot turns around in the boat, and if you remember this bit, he turns around and says, I hope you've all enjoyed yourself. I wish you could have seen your faces. Well, in fact, you can, because if you look at the front of the boat, there's a camera, and the back of the boat, there's a camera there too. And when you get upstairs, you'll find there's a video playing. They've already got it beamed in this canyon straight upstairs, so you can now go and buy the video of your ride that you just had. And as you walk through there, you also pass all the merchandise, all the hats, the coats, the gloves, everything you could possibly get. And I watched for about 20 minutes, and because of my sales and marketing head, I'm thinking, look at this is genius, all this upsell. And I went across to the manager, I said, you know, I can't help myself, I've got to comment on this and congratulate you. You have got the most well-oiled upsell machine that I've ever seen. And he looked at me with absolute disgust at first and then disbelief and said, I do hope you don't think we're just trying to sell to you. But you know what? He believed that, completely and utterly believed it. I said, but by my rough maths, I've watched about 4 boatloads come through, about 40% of the people that are coming off are buying all your stuff. That's an upsell. He said, no, we don't think of it like that at all. He said, we've taken your phones and things off because you better be holding on. We don't want people taking pictures. I said, then why don't you include it in the price? He said, well, then because everyone would have to pay even if they didn't want the pictures. It's kind of like a Ryanair or an EasyJet. Who pays for speedy boarding? What a genius concept. You can strip it out if you don't want it, or you pay if you want it, right? So what have you got that you add on? This has worked for me. Well, okay, for 5 minutes. I took this story and I twisted it because this is rather ironic too, one of my clients, I run mentoring groups, I say for general business, but also have some very specific groups, and one is a group of opticians. 10 of the top independent optometrists in the country. I spoke at their conference, and as a result from that, Gavin joined our group that you're in, and Gavin and I then set up a group just for these optometrists. What do I know about optometry? Nothing. I'm learning a lot now, but it doesn't matter. I know about business and sales and marketing and stuff. And so after working with all the owners for a while, they said, what we'd like, Steve, we'd like you to do a sales course for our clinicians, our dispensing opticians. Now, a lot of those people, if I'd asked them, you know, do you think you're in sales? Do you think the people that work in the opticians? No, they don't. Because that's the scum. That's like double glazing, that's insurance, that's whatever else you might, but we're not sales, we're clinical, right? And so the thought of them coming to a sales course was not going to be very good. I had about 50 of these people coming on my day. So the first thing I did was to go on a secret shopping mission around the country. So they didn't know I was coming, but I had the same story to each and every one of them, which was, I'm moving into your area. I had cataract surgery a few years ago, true. It's left my right eye with some floaters going around and a bit of a blurry vision, more blurry than I'd like. As I'm moving into your area, I was recommended, you guys, I'd like an appointment for an eye test. Now I'm giving them loads of cues that they could latch onto, which some of you can already start to see what I'm saying to them. And I gave them all the same story. What they did is, because it's the junior's job to take the phone call and the junior's job to book me in. They all booked me in for an appointment. I've rocked up at the first place and the person's meeting me and greeting me, would you like a coffee? No, I'm good, thanks very much. Just want to get the eye test and get sorted. Okay, so which eye test would you like? So, well, I don't know, you're the opticians. This is what's happening and this is what's going on. Well, we have one that starts at £29 and they go up to £89. But as you're new to us and we don't know, perhaps we should just start with the £29 one. Good decision, bad decision? These are the top 10 independent opticians in the country. So they put me through, did the test, did everything, did what they said, that was all lovely. And I mentioned that quite often I'm talking to groups of people and I hate wearing readers because what I would really like is things like this, a varifocal, so I can see this and that and everything else. No one tried to sell me varifocals. No one even offered them to me. And I went from one to the next, and because the junior people were doing the wrong job and they were the non-sales sales team, not selling at all, they missed everything. I got to the 6th one, so I'd gone through 5 eye tests in a couple of days, and I got to the 6th one, and I'm all the way up in Hereford. And I've walked in, and they sent the optometrists to meet me. Receptionist greeted me, offered me coffee, and then said, Mrs. So-and-so will be with you in 2 minutes. She came and sat down within the 2 minutes with me, sat down side by side. So, Mr. Clarke, tell me, you were recommended. That's lovely. Who recommended you? I made up a quick name. I said, well, that's lovely. We love recommendations. That's always good. Tell me about the problems you're having. Because she was already aware that there were problems. I described it to her and she said, well, do you know what? With what you're saying, I'm a little concerned for ocular health. Don't panic, but I'm a little bit concerned. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to put you on this new machine that we've got, this Daytona OCT machine. It'll let us get behind the eye, see everything that's there, and we can see what's causing some of those problems for you, and at least it'll put your mind at rest. Would that be okay? It's £89, so it's more than the normal one. Would that be okay? I'd agreed going in that I'd say yes to whatever they said. So when they said, would that be okay, I said, yes. So in we go, and we sat down, she put me on the machine, looked in, twiddled a bit, sat back, looked in, twiddled a bit, sat back, beads of perspiration, and then she left the room. She said, I'll be back in a sec. She went out and she came back and said, Mr. Clarke, don't panic. What do you do when they say that? Don't panic. I phoned A&E. You're going there now. They're waiting for you. I said, what do you mean? He said, your retina is detaching. Now, I don't know if you know what that means, but if your retina is detaching, it's like wet wallpaper. As it starts to fall away from the back of your eye, when it's detached, it doesn't go back. When it's detached, you're blind in that eye. One of my kids, a friend of one of my kids just said recently, don't look on the bright side, Steve. If you had gone completely blind, at least you'd get a free dog. That is looking on the bright side of things. So anyway, so I've gone along to A&E and I've sat down with the doctor, and the doctor's looking in here and saying, yeah, when did you last eat? And I'm thinking, this is getting serious now. He said, we want you to stay over and we can operate in the morning. I said, look, I need to come clean with him. I said, could it be anything to do with the fact that I've now had 6 eye tests in 2 days? At which point he looked at me and said, you've done what? Now, how paranoid can one man be? And so I explained I was secret shopping with these opticians, and so he looked at me again and said, so are you secret shopping now? I said, no, you looked in my eye, right? There's a retina coming away. He said, yeah. I said, no, this is serious shit we've got to deal with. So we had it all done, and it, long story short, I had the operation, it didn't quite work, had another operation, that then messed up the cornea. I've now got a lens that's out of place, so next Thursday I'm going in for another operation, which if you're squeamish, these operations, this is not laser going blip, oh that's done, now you can see. This is an hour and a half on the slab under local anaesthetic while they suck the jelly out of your eye and then fill it with gas and do all sorts of messy stuff with you. It's not a lot of fun. But anyway, next week it will be fixed and I can see you all. And you won't look as handsome. Maybe you will. Maybe you will. Okay, but I tell you that because when I then went the next day and did the sales training course, and I turned up with these people, one by one they're coming in and going, oh, we know you. You're that secret shopper fella. Oh, so you're going to do the sales training now? I said, well, kind of. And we sat down, and as we got talking, I went through what happened during the secret shopping exercise. And I went from one to the next to the next. And I was explaining what happened in Reading, what happened in Braintree. I said, and then I got to Hereford. And people laughed, because they're thinking I'm now going to tell a silly story about Hereford. And with about 50-something people in the room, including the owners of the practices, I said, and then thanks to Rena, when she looked in, she found I had a retinal detachment. And you could have heard a pin drop in that room. And then one of the owners said, that is shameful. We're the top opticians in the country and we missed it. I said, you missed it because you wouldn't sell me from £29 to £89, pure and simple. And so what we did, which is we coined a phrase that I kind of picked up from these guys, which is I get shot for the non-sales sales team. For some of you in the room, get rid of the term upsell. Because when you tell your staff to upsell, what they think they're doing is putting fuel in your BMW. They're paying for your big car. We don't upsell. We're not salespeople. What we did was we changed the phrase to upserve. That tiny change in the language got Gavin £119,000 of extra business across his 3 practices over 3 months. Because his staff now are thinking, if that was your mum coming in and that was the problem she had, what would you do for her? You'd sit her down and say, Mum, it's going to be 89 quid, but you're doing it. Agreed? So you need to get your people to think about upserving, not upselling. So you've got 3 calls to make. You've got upselling, but it's not. It's now called upserving. What's the other thing we did? Picking up the phone, 3 people. What else?
Call you.
Call me. What else?
Spend your tenner.
Spend my tenner. ROE, return on engagement, delegate, outsource, automate. here's the final one that I want to leave you with this. When I was in India just now, this is your challenge for the next 7 days. If you're up for it. Who's up for a challenge? 7 days, and it will rock your world and change your lives at home as well as at work if you'll do it. In India, it was fantastic talking to, there were about 300 people at this life insurance roundtable conference. It was great. Here's me now, not politically correct, right? I can't help it. If I go to Glasgow, within minutes, I start talking like the Glaswegians do, and I'm talking to them because I can't help myself. So when I was in India and I'm talking to people, oh my God, I started it. And I couldn't get some of their names, first of all, because they were very complicated the way their name sounded. And then finally, a guy said, hello, I'm Bobby. I said, oh, Bobby, my new best mate. And I was talking to Bobby, and I found myself, as I was talking, I found myself talking like this to him. And, oh, Bobby, please don't think I'm rude. And I explained it. He said, no, this is absolutely perfect. He said, because what you're now doing is you're speaking English. Because they combine their Hindi and their English, and it's silly. Go to Spain and order a gin and tonic, please. They go, okay, a gin and tonic, please. Okay, a gin and tonica. Ah, gin and tonic. They get that because a little bit of change in the accent and the language is really important. And in India, I said, so Bobby, would they accept it if I was up there and talked in English? He said they would love it. And it was a high-risk strategy, because if I tried that in Coventry, someone's going to sue me, right? But there, I'm so in front of all these people, and I'm getting my point across slowly and deliberately so they get it. They said, maybe you'd find it easier if I was talking like this. And they all stood up and applauded, and threw nothing. It was brilliant. But you've got to speak people's language. The thing that I loved is they do not complain out there. If you've been to India, they've got lots to complain about. I've never been in a traffic jam with elephants, tuk-tuks, cars going in the wrong direction on what should be my side of the road, lorries crossing one way, pedestrians going somewhere else, but they don't complain. They're lovely people to work with. So my challenge to you is for the next 7 days, starting like right now, 7 days, no complaining. Not about your kids, not about work, not about the fact that I overran by 10 minutes, not about any of that stuff at all. It was only 10 minutes, we started late as well. Okay, but no complaining for 7 days. Can you do it? In India they said, Mr. Clarke, just 7 days, can we do longer? Yeah, knock yourself out. When I offered that to the people in Iran, I got an email back from one saying, Mr. Steve, please, it's Ramadan, may I complain, I'm starving. I thought, yeah, that's cool too. So you're allowed to reset your clock whenever you like, but know that you're complaining and stop it. We've got 5 kids. The last one just left home a couple of weeks ago, and Trevor has just joined our family today, and I said I would never get another dog. But with 5 kids and all grown and away, we've hit the kind of empty nest syndrome, and my wife's been getting pretty damn depressed about the whole thing. Emily's only moved 500 yards away, but she's gone now. The last one's flown the nest. And when she mentioned me about the dog, I'm immediately going, what? So I went into complain mode about they're going to bite the stuff, they're going to do this, I'll get asthma, I'm allergic to it. But instead I thought, let's just not complain. If my dear lovely wife would really like a dog, and she showed me a picture, and he is the cutest dog in the world, despite being called Trevor, which is the silliest name. I can't imagine myself out in the walk going, Trevor! Trevor! It'd be quite fun. But we got the dog. And guess what else? Because I didn't complain, because that's there, we've been married a good few years, and I don't want to put too fine a point on this, but tonight, all this stuff, my right thumb was over my left, and tonight, I promise you, it'll be like a honeymoon night, because I'm not going to go home and complain about anything, even if the dog's weeding the corner somewhere. Try it for 7 days. No complaining about your staff, not about suppliers, not about the car, the traffic, or anything. When you find yourself doing it, stop in that moment, and then reset the clock and think, how can we put a positive spin on this? Because when you do that and you try it for 7 days, it starts to become a habit. Once you start to have that kind of habit, I promise you, everyone will recognise it around you. People don't like hanging around with miserable people. People don't like hanging around with complainers, moaners, groaners, and complainers. People like to hang around with fun people, upbeat people. Would you agree? So be one of those. So all I'd ask you is to take on board the stuff that you've heard tonight. Think, what could you do for your business? And above all else, think about where's the focus. What is it you want to focus on? Are you going to be action focused, or are you going to be thinkers, or are you going to wonder what happened? Choice is entirely yours. Thank you ever so much for your time and your attention. I really appreciate it.